For more than 3 decades, Dirty Dancing has been a beloved romantic dance film, and its popularity shows no signs of abating. No one on the cast could have predicted the film's monumental cultural influence when it debuted on August 21, 1987. While the film's upbeat tone is hard to top, there was definitely some drama behind the scenes. Despite your undying love for Dirty Dancing, the filming was surprisingly challenging. It's likely that there are numerous interesting anecdotes on the behind-the-scenes activities that you are unaware of. Dirty Dancing, which had a meager budget of only $6 million and was released on August 21, 1987, was not much anticipated. The script was actually rejected 43 times before a tiny firm named Vestron opted to produce the film, as producer Linda Gottlieb revealed in 2012. Dirty Dancing, however, achieved unprecedented success, earning $214 million worldwide and winning an Academy Award. The obvious attraction between Patrick Swayze's charismatic dance teacher Johnny and Jennifer Grey's innocent guest baby was a major factor in the film's popularity. The fact that they didn't get along on set is surprising, yet the film turned out so well that no one would have guessed. Many other films and TV shows have made references to the film, which has become legendary. I bet you never imagined anyone else could fill Baby and Johnny's shoes during your entire life. The truth is that Sarah Jessica Parker and Winona Ryder were among the other possibilities cast as Baby. Linda Gottlieb, the film's producer, pointed out that Jennifer Grey's audition was noticeable from the start. She went on to say that her father had physically shoved Grey into the room. This had a profound influence on all individuals. "Wish me luck, Daddy," Grey said upon entering, which precisely portrayed Baby's character, according to screenwriter Eleanor Bergstein. It was at that moment that Bergstein knew Grey was the one for the part. It wasn't simply Baby. The part of Johnny Castle was open to Benicio del Toro, Val Kilmer, and Billy Zane. "I thought you would recognize Billy Zane from his role as Titanic's villain Cal," Bergstein mentioned in the Netflix movies that created us that they wanted a dancer who could really sell it, and he danced like he had learned to dance wonderfully for his bar mitzvah. Swayze was almost an afterthought in the film. Even Billy Zane, who played Bad Kid, had a good turn. Although Johnny was cast at the beginning of filming, he was removed once it was discovered that he was not related to Jennifer Grey. Of all things, it was a good thing. When casting Johnny Castle, Bergstein used a Rolodex of eye photographs to find Swayze. According to Bergstein's statement in Movies That Made Us, she wanted hooded eyes. "I kept saying, those are the eyes I want as we looked at picture after photo." Before you think it's crazy, consider that many of your favorite scenes weren't even considered for the script. If you're a movie buff, you'll likely never forget the iconic moment where Johnny and Baby practiced the mambo before the big performance. Johnny seems quite irritated, while Baby battles an overwhelming urge to giggle. As it turns out, that was completely unplanned. Jennifer Grey's ticklishness is on full display, and Patrick Swayze's frustration with her is a hoot. Also, remember when Mickey and Sylvia were having a blast dancing to Love Is Strange? Similarly, that scene was unscripted. When filming began, the players were so absorbed in their roles that they forgot the cameras were rolling. Despite the summer setting, filming took place in October when the water was so frigid that the actors' lips turned blue from the cold. It may come as a surprise to hear that the filming took place in the cold autumn months of Virginia and North Carolina. They had to change the shifting leaves to look green to make it feel like summer. In the scene where Baby and Johnny practice the famous lift, you can actually feel the icy water. Their blue lips would have revealed their true season, so they steered clear of close-ups. Even though Swayze hurt his knee, he continued filming nevertheless. "It was difficult for him to dance in this film due to an injury he sustained while performing on Broadway," he said. Despite the lack of spectacular action sequences and wild stunts in Dirty Dancing, Patrick Swayze was adamant on performing all of his own stunts in the film. While dancing on the log across the river, he frequently tripped and fell, further aggravating his injured knee. The fluid in his knee needed to be drained. Their caution was warranted because he was already battling knee issues. The fact that Swayze filmed every scene by himself only serves to heighten the film's already legendary aura. In his memoir, The Time of My Life, Patrick Swayze discussed the ways in which a severe knee injury hindered his acting career and the roles that he turned down. Still, audiences primarily perceived him as a dancer-turned-actor, thus it was challenging for him to land roles that didn't involve much dancing. Despite the fact that Dirty Dancing was an outlier, he was still in agony. He pulled through the iconic lake lift scene despite masking a great deal of pain. The season wasn't the only thing that led folks astray. Another factor was Johnny's ethnic background. There was an initial plan for Johnny to be Italian. It's difficult to think of anyone else who could have played Johnny Castle like Patrick Swayze, but that wasn't always the plan. Billy Zane was probably considered for the part of Johnny first because of the original script's description of him as an exotically styled Italian dancer. Unlike Swayze, Zane lacked the necessary dancing skills. They were fortunate to find Swayze, who had extensive experience dancing on Broadway. The one and only catch was that he was far from looking Italian. This led them to the decision to change Johnny's ethnicity to Irish. The film industry had a profound impact on Jennifer Grey's life. Dirty Dancing catapulted her to stardom in the 80s and 90s. However, she made a significant decision at that moment that would later impact her professional trajectory. After difficulties from her rhinoplasty in the early 1990s, several critics claimed that the procedure had a negative impact on her acting career. She went so far as to need a second operation. She felt like a different person after that, and considered rebranding herself under a new name in order to revitalize her career. Although she ultimately opted out of additional surgery, it undoubtedly left an indelible mark on her acting career. Jennifer had a tense encounter with Patrick Swayze in 1984 while filming Red Dawn, long before Dirty Dancing catapulted her to fame. She recounted the time they were in a sleeping bag filming their first kiss scene. He showed up inebriated and forgot his lines, among other signs of nervousness and lack of preparation, according to her. It was intended to be res hot at a later date, but the scene was ultimately eliminated. Grey reflected on Swayze's performance and said that he seemed somewhat domineering due to his immersion in the part. John Milius, the film's director, once told Swayze, "You know, you're the leader and you have to be alpha," advice that the actor paid close attention to. It's clear that Swayze and Grey had their differences. On set, they didn't have much of a chemistry, and they supposedly argued a few times before the cameras started rolling. Regardless, they displayed their acting skills to perfection by developing a fantastic on-screen relationship. "We had our share of nervous moments," as Swayze noted in his memoirs, particularly at the end of a long day on set. It appeared like she was quite sensitive. When someone got on her case, she would occasionally cry. On other occasions, she would simply become too animated and insist that we reshoot scenes just so she could laugh. Another factor was the significant age difference between them. In the movie, Baby is 18 years old and Johnny is 24. Although Jennifer Grey was meant to play Baby, a recent high school graduate, she was really 26 years old when cast. Conversely, Swayze was a solid 10 years older than Johnny, playing the part at the age of 34. Does it really matter, though, considering how superbly they acted out their parts? Not at all. The actors believed the set was merely cursed. Everything went swimmingly on day 1 of filming until day 6, when problems began to arise. A number of team members discovered that their belongings had gone missing. A van was damaged, and the streets surrounding the set were suddenly inundated. A set decorator fell from a ladder, a wardrobe assistant stubbed her toe, and the second assistant director broke her wrist. A case of food illness was also treated by 3 crew members. The principal makeup artist quit a month before filming was to conclude, citing personal reasons. Jennifer Grey came up covered in bee stings all over her arms the same day they found a wasp problem. Finally, one producer considered simply torching the tape and pocketing the insurance payout since he was so dissatisfied with it. Interestingly, there was a lot of controversy over the title of the film as well. A daring film, Dirty Dancing, came out in the late 80s. At first, censorship officials were concerned that it may be confused for something more explicit. Thank goodness the studio wasn't swayed by less desirable titles, such as the cringeworthy "I Was a Teenage Mambo Queen." In an interview with Bobby Van from 1987, Patrick Swayze admitted, "I detest the title Dirty Dancing, but we had to stick with and promote it because that's what the studio chose." Despite the fact that the name has become iconic, Swayze wasn't a fan. Dirty Dancing was unexpectedly popular with moviegoers, despite its memorable title and A-list performers. Its success wasn't guaranteed, to be honest. Production ended on October 27, 1986, but the crew at Vestron was still not sure the picture would go anywhere. Neither did the initial screens for tests. The plot involving Penny's abortion was apparently completely lost on 39% of viewers. Originally, the plan was to bypass the theaters and go straight to home video. Dirty Dancing really stunned everyone, despite the many obstacles it faced. Released to the public on August 21, 1987, it became an instant smash, earning $214 million globally and $64 million in the US alone. The audience couldn't get enough and returned for more. In addition to winning an Oscar for Best Original Song, it became the year's most popular home video rental. What began as an audacious step became a watershed moment in cultural history. Even on set, there were unforgettable incidents, such as the near miss that would become one of the film's most remembered lines. There was a near miss with the finale. "Nobody puts baby in a corner" is a famous statement that almost got axed. Patrick Swayze, who found it difficult to speak, thought it was extremely corny. What would the film be like without that line? For the huge finale sequence, we rewrote a lot of words, but I still couldn't stand a single phrase. "The time of my life" is Swayze's autobiography. "Nobody puts baby in a corner" seemed so cliched that I could hardly utter it. On the other hand, I had to admit defeat after seeing the finished result. Of course, it went on to become one of the most famous lines from the film as well. There are some remarkable situations in the film, and the rapidity with which it came together is really wild. Despite operating on a shoestring budget, they completed the task in record time. Less than 3 months passed after they began practicing, and they finished filming. In just 2 weeks, the performers perfected those challenging dance routines. With the entire production lasting 44 days, it's difficult to even fathom their insane filming schedules. And what about the last dance number? Only one take was needed for filming. Jennifer Grey, in keeping with her character, was apprehensive about the lift and reluctant to practice. But in that one take that you see in the film, they got it absolutely right when filming began. There were some intriguing decisions made regarding the cast of Dirty Dancing. Cynthia Rhodes was the original cast member, playing Penny. She was cast as Penny before any other parts were filled. She had just made appearances in films like Flashdance and Staying Alive, which starred John Travolta, and was attempting to launch her acting career. She got her big break with Dirty Dancing. The sole genuine worry of the director and producers was Rhodes' appearance. Because she was still somewhat attractive, they felt she failed to adequately portray the character's hardships. Do you think it's possible? She looked a bit less attractive and perspiring thanks to the wizardry of the makeup experts. Following her breakthrough, she sang lead for the pop duo Animotion from 1986 to 1990. The backstory of the film is as intriguing as the actors themselves. Eleanor Bergstein's life served as the inspiration for the screenplay. Her personal experiences during the 1960s served as inspiration. Like Baby's family, her father was a doctor, and she grew up in Brooklyn. She spent every summer in the Catskills with her family, engaging in the same mischievous antics as Baby and her sister in the movie. It was during these travels that she acquired the moniker Baby, which remained with her far into her 20s. The dance sequences take place after Bergstein befriends a teacher who is significantly older than her. It certainly makes the story more interesting. While recording that iconic song, Bill Medley and his duet partner really wanted to immerse themselves in the persona, as he revealed to Rolling Stone. They ended up doing it in the studio with the soundtrack playing. They sung to each other in the film, according to Medley. He felt it was crucial to include an upbeat melody at the point where Baby is raised. Because of this, the singing comes off as really enthusiastic and enjoyable. They were savoring every second of it, and it wasn't even a performance. When Medley first heard it, he thought it was going to be in an adult film. Famous song "I've Had the Time of My Life" features vocals by Bill Medley and Jennifer Warnes. However, Medley initially had doubts regarding the song's intended function. The persuasion required to get Medley to consent to record the music spanned multiple months. Even after finishing it, he had second thoughts about the film's box office prospects. Without a clue that it would become the year's most successful picture, we walked into the studio and started singing. "Remarkably astounding," he remarked afterwards. "That sounds like a bad adult picture," Medley joked. His wife's pregnancy was the reason he declined the song. Even in the modern era, Dirty Dancing has become an enduring cultural phenomenon. However, Jennifer Grey stressed the need of paying homage to the original film while discussing the prospect of a sequel. Even if there's a lot of interest in a sequel, she's determined to honor Patrick Swayze and the movie's fans by staying true to the original. Grey continued by saying that she would only be engaged if the film stuck to the original idea and maintained the same transparent vision for its primary topics.